It's Clark and Perry on the case. Da-na-na-na. Clark and Perry.
Do what it takes.
Da-na-na-na. Clark and Perry. Investigate.
The activities and interests of local artists in the Windy City's finest throughout both Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, Alberta. Available on TELUS, Optic TV, On Demand, VidFlex, YouTube, and more for limited time only. Terms and conditions apply.
Da-na-na-na.
So do you feel ready to...
You know, I'm feeling pretty confident with now changing my idea of a tree to now a flower.
Okay.
So round two, I think I'm ready.
Let's do it.
So you mentioned that the hide is going to be a bit different than the paper for sure.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that exactly?
Okay, so another thing you can do is you can use a painted, like a canvas, and just because, I don't know if it's not as smooth, it's rougher, so it's going to stick. So that's why I mentioned too, if you have a fish scale and it falls there, especially on the hide, you're going to see it and it's going to be hard to kind of wipe it off, and it's going to stick there a lot better.
Yeah. It's got more fibers, obviously, to kind of attach to. And yeah, this is not, it's not rough, but it's like softer than leather for sure for those folks that aren't necessarily as familiar with hide like myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely, okay, that's very interesting.
So it's kind of hard to explain, but I feel like once you try it, like the first time I made fish scale on a canvas, so I painted the whole background and they were slippery. So like I had to be really like even more careful with putting them on where I wanted them to go.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. That's amazing. Okay, sweet. So we can use kind of a multitude of different colors, but like what's your recommendation? If I do one layer of say this color, is the next layer of a different color also something, or are we more focused on shape?
So I go on colors. I like to pick out kind of a color palette. So with flowers, I like to mix, I don't know, 2 or 3 colors, totally up to you. And then you can have them out if you want to have like your piles of their different colors and decide kind of what to work on, and like you can have them out at the same time. Just please don't mix them in one pile.
You betcha.
Or if you do, just separate them after.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. All right. Well, I really liked this dark color, so I'm going to use up what I have, and then I'll probably see what we have next. Let's break the ice. Let's break the ice. Okay.
Okay. You got this. I believe in you.
Solid. What would be your top 3 tips when getting into fish scale art?
Gosh, you need to be able to get the fish scales. So learn how to fish would be number 1.
That's true. Know somebody who fishes. All right.
Also, I'm just going to throw in there, if you do a bigger flower, I kind of like to map out my space a little bit. Yeah. So mine is going to be about that big, and then I'm going to go around and fill in the spaces, and then, like I did with the other one, go towards the layer in the middle there.
Okay, sweet. I was going to go with many small flowers.
Yep.
We were going to see how that works. Because, I put the first one down and was like, that doesn't look like an even circle. That will look like an oval. So I'll try to keep it as symmetrical as possible. I liked how you spaced out the first layer, of course. And, I see what you're saying as well, too, with the mapping. That's good. Okay. All right. Well, I have a large piece of hide of experimentation, experimental flower creation.
I'm not sure that fish scales are, accessible too much. So I just get them from family, and that's kind of just who I depend on. And I don't know, have fun, I feel like is always a good way to go about it. Any sort of art practice, I think.
So know somebody who fishes,
Yeah.
have fun, and I guess keep in mind of shape, or always be aware of the shapes you're playing with, or be generous. You know what? I like, you're just going in, and I'm just like, like caressing it ever so gently as well too. That's amazing. Be generous.
Yes, generous. Yeah, and I do look at the shapes kind of a lot.
That is a skill I am not developing just quite yet. So one thing at a time for me. You're just going to start dipping. There we go.
So I've done some, like with the canvas, I've done trees like birch bark trees, or what are the, I want to say cherry blossoms. I don't know if that's right. but just different trees and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can paint the background, or like with those ones, I used a pen to draw on them, to draw that on first.
Okay, yeah.
And then I just put the fish scales over top. So I think I was working on one with on a painting of a tree with
Mhm.
fish scales, and the fish scale fell and it wasn't on the tree. So then I developed a style of having them look like they're falling, like the wind sort of thing. Yeah. So
Just going with the flow at that point
I
as well
mean-
too. That's that's very similar.
yeah.
It's very similar to a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
Well, I've dropped one already.
Good.
We'll see. Yes, have to learn that quite easily, quite quickly as well too. Ooh, this one's
See, and I think I will consciously go like this when I'm laughing, or like look up, so I'm not
right, right.
So that's maybe another habit I've developed when working on them.
Controlled breathing.
Yes.
Controlled breathing. Okay. Okay. Sweet. I got the first circle done on this first one.
It's looking good.
I like this one.
I think I'm gonna go with a. See, I just want to use these ones because I just dyed them yesterday,
Ooh.
so that's why I want to use them. So I guess I'll just use them.
And it's on brand as well too. Teal Fawn Designs.
is,
Like
yeah.
they got to use some teal,
Guess what
right?
my favorite color is. Yeah, my business is named after my favorite color, and my
Mhm.
middle name is Fawn. So
Honestly, it's got a very nice ring to it
yeah,
as well too.
I think so too. It took a lot of brainstorming.
Dan knows this about me. Sometimes I go into a decision a little too quickly, or I'm just kind of like, yeah, that works.
Mhm.
But the Windy City's Finest, yeah, that was definitely Dan's creation as well too. It does take a lot of time and brainstorming too, right? Because
Yes.
you're going to be branding yourself on all different types of things as well too.
Yes. Yeah, and you want it to sound nice, roll off the tongue. See, and I kind of thought about using a Cree word or something too, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love the language. I don't speak the language.
Mm.
I would love to learn one day. I know a bit of words. I actually did Cree immersion when I was in elementary school,
Mm-hmm.
and so I mean, I know a bit. But yeah, that was definitely one of the considerations, was using that. But I know, and maybe it would have been good to teach people Cree words. But Teal Fawn Designs also just.
Yeah.
like
And I
some of it.
mean, that also being said, there's always potential for evolutions of the business as well too, right? Like,
Yes,
this is a part of you. So whichever
Yeah.
direction you go is exactly where it's going to go.
totally. And I think this is a pretty uncommon practice. So
I think so as well too. It's but honestly, it's a very calming practice as well too.
Yeah.
This is very, I really kind of like the you're slowly but surely just kind of dip into some glue and
mhm.
putting this together. There's
I've done a few workshops as well teaching this, and that's
yeah,
fun.
that's right. Has there been like any additional projects or students of yours that have been kind of especially interested in this? What's been the most that somebody has imparted with as part of one of your workshops?
Oh,
That's a big and broad question.
I mean, so one of the more recent ones I did, so I sent the packages out to them,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe it was out east. I want to say Toronto. Anyways, they sent the packages out to them, and it was there was some elders, so we ended up talking a lot about the like traditional use of so like you already mentioned, using all parts of the animal, and that's kind of connected to. And it's, I mean, it's useful, it's art, it's beautiful, but
yes.
just the fact of using all the materials, and the elder just kind of talked about that a little bit too, and how that was kind of a traditional Indigenous value brought into that with the artwork as well. And yeah,
That's lovely. That's lovely. I also just dropped one,
okay.
but thankfully it landed right perfectly where I was going to place it. I seem to be the luckiest right now.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to change colors because I want to fill in the middle and kind of add some more volume as well too.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I really like this one.
Mhm.
I touched it and
That's okay.
didn't move too much, but that one that's got a lot of nice shape.
Yeah.
A gentle hand.
People have asked if you can use tweezers. I feel like that would be harder. But I have long nails, so I use my long nails.
Oh, that is a distinct advantage that you have. Okay. Well, I was about to say you have like almost what looks like to be an additional toolkit as well off to the side. Like, do you mind? Is this a little too early? But like, what are these?
Oh.
What are these brushes for?
Oh, you get to ask about the brushes. So
Yes.
all it is, you might be underwhelmed.
That's okay.
But you're just going to. So once everything is dried, so or even when they're a little bit. So oh no, that's still pretty. Like they're going to move a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it dries clear. So you'll be able to tell when the glue is completely dried. So then you're going to just brush over top of all of them with the glue.
And give them that shine.
Yes, the
right?
shine and then the
Oh.
toughness as well. So they're a lot tougher if you try and move those bad boys. They're not going anywhere.
Nope. That is a part of the art.
Yes, and that's another thing too. You're going to have to be super generous with, like, they'll be all like completely white because that's what makes them like really tough.
Okay, be
Yeah.
generous as part of
Yeah.
one of the mandates. One of the mandates, be generous.
Yeah, even how you have like look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fish scales, and I have this many.
I know. I don't know. I try to do a it's such a weird way for my brain to work, but I'm always like resource management. Let's maximize what we can. It's a
Yeah,
strange thing.
And I have them all out here, so I can look at them and I can decide what shape. And you're limited by this little bit of.
I think for me, I actually like being limited.
Yeah?
Because then I kind of like, okay, this is what I have to work with.
Yeah.
Because if I have too many options, I'll find myself just stuck going through the piles, being like, which is the best one? And then I'll just pick up fishing because then I figure I might as well get the best scale or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't decide what color to go next. I think I'll do orange.
I was just read my mind. So I actually had a couple questions about these ones as well too. These ones seem to be a multitude of colors. Now, is this just because this is a mixed bag with some green and some peach, or is there like a different drying or dyeing process?
No, I think it's just like a mixed bag from former workshops and stuff. I used to do a lot of in-person and went to classes and stuff and did this,
okay.
Which was a lot of fun. But I think it's just kind of got mixed up in there. So like you can tell, I don't know if you can tell, like even the nice bags, like the newer kind of ones so these ones were probably used for workshops because they're very mixed, whereas this red is just the red.
Brand
nice,
new.
yes.
That's okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I dropped it. Yep. It's gone. It's gone to the void, into the nether. I think I'm going to place one more. You know what? I'm going to go digging.
Do it.
I'm going to place one more, and then I think my first flower is done. I'm going to be moving on to my next.
I actually really love this orange on here. I wasn't sure, but I think I really like it.
That is an experiment that is paying off. So how long does this typically take you to do? If you're doing let's say just one of these size of canvases, you're doing a full one.
Yeah.
Whatever that means to you. But how long does this process typically take you?
So just the fish scale part, I would say about half an hour or so.
Oh my goodness. These fingers got to move a bit quicker then. Has fish scale art kind of, have you worked on any larger canvases than just this standard size? Or?
I have, yeah. So the biggest one, it was closer to when I first started doing fish scale art. I just wanted to kind of test my boundaries. So I did a 16 by 20 canvas. I don't think I even painted the background, or maybe just painted it white. So 16 by 20, right? That's quite a bit bigger.
Yeah, very large.
Just to see kind of the scale of what I could do with the fish scale. And I did a few like vines kind of like that. And yeah, so that's the biggest one I worked on. And I would love to do that again.
That's crazy. Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm going to do kind of like this one where I have the leaves on there as well.
Excellent. I was going to do some vines as well too.
Yeah.
So you picked up the green. I was like, oh, which one? Which one am I going to be left with?
There's plenty to go around.
Oh yeah. Ooh, and these big flat ones, I think you're going to be my favorite as well too. To yourself, and in your own words, what would you hold as fish scale artistry has relevance in this community, in Lethbridge?
I always love the aspect of, and I related to hoop dancing as well, that something unique like this will draw people in and to ask about the culture and learn about the culture. So we've touched on a few different things here, just working on it. And so I like that, I guess, just that aspect that it's a little more unique and not seen as much and will bring people in to ask questions. Kind of makes it easier on.
Sorry.
You scared me.
Oh, man, I dropped another one. It didn't have glue on it, but I did catch it. So I did save the scale. Small victories.
But yeah, I was just going to say, it kind of makes it easier for me, right? So
Very
people, like,
accessible as well,
tell
too.
me about your artwork. Tell me about your culture. Where did it come from? All that good stuff. It totally kind of does that work for me, right? Because that's something I always want to share my beadwork, and that's like intrinsically part of my culture, right? Like they're tied together. So I love being able to do that, to share my culture in that way.
Well, I might be putting you on the spot as well, too.
Okay.
But you mentioned that you knew a couple Cree words. Do you mind sharing a few?
All right. Oh, well, hopefully my mom is not one. No, I'm just kidding. So tanse
Kanse?
means hello.
Hello.
Nihio.
Nihia.
Nihio
Okay.
means Cree.
Means Cree.
Yeah. So I don't know a lot, but Nihia Isqueo means Cree woman. So I would say that I'm a Nihia Isqueo.
Nihiha Esqueo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Good job. And then, like I mentioned, I did the Cree immersion when I was little. So a couple animals. Bear is Musqua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Musqua.
Yeah. Tim is dog. Tim.
A Tim?
Yeah.
That's lovely. I know a lot of Tims. And now I know more Tims.
Yeah. You know, Tim.
That's funny.
That was a good one. Mr. Tim is horse. That's a big dog.
Oh, that's good. Mr. Tim.
Someone was just asking my son. So my son did, during the whole post-COVID thing, he did a year of at-home schooling with my mom, who was actually a Cree teacher. So she was fluent in Cree. And someone just asked him the other day what Cree words he knows, and he said, "Well, not super appropriate ones, not terrible, not swears, but you know, not nice ones like
not
animals
nice ones
and
either.
stuff."
Yeah. Well, I mean, you always got to start somewhere. That's funny.
Yeah.
I don't think that these are as much leaves as they are arms. This flower has arms. I'm just putting them around, just getting a feel for things as well too. That's what we got so far. I mean, yeah, same caliber and everything. It's 100%.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like from a distance. You couldn't tell.
If you squint and, close your eyes and imagine. I think I'm going to try out your strategy as well too. I'm going to try to map these out a little bit more as well too. I'm going to mimic a little bit of the purple, but I'm going to go do some other colors too.
Oh, I guess it's going that way. It's not exactly the way I wanted it, but it told me it's going that way.
And it's going to stay.
Yep.
So in comparison to beading, how much different is the fish scale art here in comparison to beading for folks that might be wanting to look for the next level?
Beading is it's leveled up for sure. So the technique I use for beading is called 2-needle flat stitch. So obviously flat stitch because the beads are laying flat, right? So one needle I'll use to put the beads on, and then another one I'll use to sew them in place.
Right.
So you have to kind of hold them in place and then sew them with the other hand. So to get them lined up, laying flat, not pulling your threads too tight, all that stuff is kind of a lot of practice. So my beading, I've been doing it. It's got to be at least 15 years by now. So it's a lot of time to kind of get
to practice, to develop, and
yeah.
So you mentioned that you've done workshops. Where have you done these before?
So I've done it in a couple of schools. I've done middle school level, and I did some just at different. Where did I do some? I think there was one in Nanton, but then a lot of them have been kind of post-COVID online sort of things. So I'm able to mail out kits to wherever and teach online. So that's kind of the one I've most commonly done, which has been fun.
Post-COVID has brought out a bunch of different pieces of technology as well too. Like for example, this live stream. This is now a workshop to figure out the basics.
Yeah, but in that way too, it's made things a lot more accessible. Like I would have never, met some of these people, or like I was mentioning working with that elder, I wouldn't have done that if, like I really, not to say them specifically, but I'm not sure if I would get flown out to do a, an hour-long fish scale workshop, across the country.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
What was your thought process when you got that opportunity as well too?
The logistics, I guess, of kind of getting everything set up and how it's going to work. But by then, when I did the elementary schools or middle schools, I had done it so long by then, so I kind of had everything figured out and I knew how things were going to go. Teaching beginners and stuff is, I feel like I kind of have a better handle on just doing that. So I feel like teaching online across the country is something I'm capable of doing now. Beading is a lot harder because there's so many more little nuances, I guess, with it, that to teach online is going to be tricky, right? Because there's a lot of times because I've taught beading a few times, there's a lot of things that are just kind of easier to explain and do like
physically
in person.
Yeah,
for sure.
I understand that as well too. I'm going to be adding in some blue into this as well too. I'm not trained in any types of color theory, but has there been any like additional like artistic or coloration practices that have kind of helped you out when developing these processes as well too? Kind of walk us through what colors go together. I'm looking for tips.
Well, I think I tend to be drawn to cool colors. So I feel like for me, because these are all considered the cool colors, right? Besides the orange is warm. So I think that's just my own personal preference. And I feel like with the teal, with the blues, that's where and the greens is where I'm drawn to the most. So I think I kind of go from there and then kind of expand out.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of more of just a preference. And me, as you've seen earlier, I was kind of putting the colors together and seeing what would look nice. So that's just my own personal preference, I guess. And I don't remember doing a lot of like color theory or anything in classes, like in university classes. Because you went for the black first.
Yes, I believe so.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I just wanted to try it out. Went for dark colors, made some arms, and I don't know. I've had experience when it came to like, this is showing how much of a nerd I am, but geometry maps. I've really enjoyed like drawing maps and like placing stamps and putting rivers down that makes sense in my brain and world building to that aspect, but I've never really tied in. It's so funny because like I'll blend in the differences and put in the trees in proper fashion when it comes to a transition between boreal forest to a desert environment. But when it comes to just the smaller views of like say a flower, I don't know. Colors just mean a different thing, I guess, when it comes to a macro to a micro perspective.
I think too, maybe with the weather being warmer and stuff, I'm drawn to the brighter, springier colors too. So I think that kind of affects a lot of my choices as well. Even with my beadwork, it's very much inspired by the nature and time of year. Or, sometimes in the winter, I'm like, I need a little something bright, then I'll be something really brightly colored. Be generous.
Keep telling myself that. There we go. All right.
Do you find you're stopping yourself from laughing?
Yeah, a few times. A few times. A few times for sure.
Yeah.
I see a kind of a small puff of air, and I don't know. I just see it kind of just blowing all over the place.
Then
Things
all
are-
those skills you'll have to pick up.
Oh man. But I'm excited. It seems to be coming together right now, which is
I like it.
my odd vision of things. I think it's coming together. We're gonna do red again.
Hey, and I mean, these flowers last forever, and Mother's Day is coming up. That's all I'm gonna say.
Ooh, I see what you're saying. Oh, that's how it's gonna go. Excellent.
Another thing I'm wanting to get into, or just starting to, is get back into sewing too, which is fun.
Okay.
And another story that is, I don't know why I'm sharing this, in public.
No, please do.
But I remember when my mom was teaching us again as teenagers, me and my little sister, we kind of used to do everything together, right?
Mhm.
But I remember she was teaching us to sew, and I was really confident once I got the hang of, I don't know if you've ever sewn, but just keeping things in a straight line, right? So your seams are straight. And I got so confident, and I was making pajama pants, but I had sewn the full legs together. Like I was supposed to stop halfway through. And then I was like, nope. So then I had to take it all, like undo it all, take it all
Oh
off.
man, and that is a long process in and of itself.
Yeah. So I got ahead of myself a little bit there. Oh, I think I just stepped on a fish scale. So that crunch was.
Yeah. I think that's a beautiful point as well too. Despite being generous, but taking your time with this as well too.
Yeah. I think
have long nails.
Yes, and have long nails. Very important. I think that's one of the things I like just in life in general is I try not to take it too seriously because I can be an overthinker. So I am constantly reminding myself of that. So I try and have dance parties with my kids and listen to music really loud if I need to. If I'm getting in my head, I'll just play a song that I like, and I just go for it and just try and keep that. And it is a reminder. I think it's good for my mental health. And that is a constant reminder that you need to not take life too seriously because you gotta have fun. You just have to.
Exactly. What do you get out of this in particular? This activity here?
It slows me down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It really slows me down, and I am not stressing. I don't know about you, but I am not feeling stressed at all. And I'm just making this beautiful artwork, looking at these beautiful colors come together. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, I actually am starting to see this come together now
Yeah.
as well too. I have like a small bush to the side, but it's not an arm anymore. So small strides, small victories here. I almost dropped another scale, but I think we're okay. That's where we'll start putting some others.
And I'm going kind of symmetrical. Well, I guess more this way, not both ways, but kind of from the middle out to the sides.
It kind of reminds me of a lily pad as well too.
That's what it was. It's like it reminds me of something else. I think with the orange, it really. But I'm happy with it. I'm liking it a lot.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
When do you know that you're finished?
Oh my gosh. So I'm a more is more type of person. So I don't know. You'll probably have to stop me. See, that's going to live there forever because I'm not picking.
Yeah, it is lost.
Because I'm just going to get covered in glue and then I'm just not interested in that. So I couldn't tell you probably when we run out of time.
Well, I'm also the same, so Dan might have to stop us. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to borrow some specialty branded scales now at this point. Teal Fawn Designs, everybody.
Yeah. Did you get a good one?
I think so. This one's kind of like, it's like a rectangle.
Yeah.
These aren't oven baked.
They're not oven baked.
You mentioned that they are placed on a pan.
So I put them in a pot.
A pot?
So I put them in a pot on the stove, put them on medium, and then, add the powdered dye, mix it in, mix the fish scales in, it takes less than 5 minutes for them to kind of get the color, and that's something I'm not an expert at, is the getting the color and the timing of it. So it's however it comes out is those are the colors that I get.
Mm-hmm.
So then once you do that, I run them like strain the water and then rinse them all out with cold water, and then I'll put them on a pan or a cloth or something, and then just let them air dry. So the orange ones I did yesterday, so I had to kind of make sure they would dry off a little bit faster, but then some of the other ones I did throughout the weekend, so I gave them about 2 days to dry. So
Sorry, I have something in my
oh,
eye.
I thought you were. So someone asked if they smelt, so I was wondering if you were smelling them.
Just want to make sure I didn't get
Like,
glow.
well, don't glue your eyes closed.
Okay, everybody, welcome. Welcome to next time, part 2. Ignore my pirate patch.
Completely unrelated to what we're doing here.
Yes. No, that's very curious. I wasn't too sure. So is like if it was a mixing process or anything like that as well too, or if they popped like popcorn. But it sounds like
No, that would be cool. But no, I just stir them in a pot and then wait till they get to the color that I like, and then I take them out and let them dry. Yeah. It's still fun to see how they turn out. So one time, I think I'm funny. So, so I tell everyone because I do. I was dyeing some, and they weren't quite the color that I wanted, so I tried to re-dye them and add this other color, but they turned this like weird, like orangey green, like not pretty color.
Ooh.
So I was like, okay, well, I'll put them to the side. And then I was washing the cloths that I used to dry them on, and then I accidentally forgot to take them out of the cloth. So in my washing machine, on the bottom of it was just a ton of fish scales. So yeah.
Oof. That is a big oof.
So it sure was, yeah.
That
Yeah.
glitter. I feel
Yeah.
like this could be almost like akin to glitter as well too, with just you could always find them everywhere.
Yeah. I am actually getting really messy over here.
Oh, so did I. I had to rub a bunch of glue on my
Yeah.
hands. I was like, I can't
See?
put this here.
See, and I can tell when you do the top layer, the orange is really going to stand out. It's really going to pop and pick up the light.
Well, it's
too.
great contrast as well too.
Yeah. Just going to take a bit of this. There's a lot of glue in my hands.
For those of us that are watching, I have a plan. Attaching a flower to another flower. I'm explaining that with the green scales.
So
Oh, yeah.
kind of like a bouquet.
Yeah. I think that's what I was kind of going for.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a little messy, but that's fine. That didn't work out as well as I thought, but that's okay. That's okay. So you kind of adapt the process as you kind of move on as well too.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested, what's the next step for you when it comes to fish scale art as well too? You mentioned you've done and tried a 16 by 20 canvas. Have you ever considered doing bigger?
Oh my gosh.
I could do this forever. Have you thought about that?
I haven't thought about it, but I am up to the challenge. I'm getting closer to being done. I'm still really liking it.
Yeah. I keep throwing
think it's a
scales on
good
this
thing.
one, trying to fix it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna fix it, but that's okay. Let's show off what I got so far. That's what I've been working on. So
Yeah.
one step forward again.
It's just a different type of flower.
Yeah, it really is. We'll keep those ones out. I'll use the red again. I like the red as the finisher. The glue on my
Stick it
thumb.
to your fingers. I can see that.
Wow. That was a saving
so
grace.
if you want
right
to
there.
try and use like the paintbrush to kind of, the end of it to like move it around or something,
Okay.
feel free to give that a try. Yeah or no?
That worked.
Yeah. Okay, good.
That worked. That worked just perfectly. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, we're doing real-time art over here. No time-lapse videos over some fun, bouncy music.
Yeah.
See, and it's nice too that you can kind of take a break
And take a look
Yeah.
at what you've created. Oh man.
and Uh-oh.
Okay, you know what? I'm not actually that mad with that.
Yeah,
How are you doing as well too? Are you almost finished?
I think so.
That looks a lot more presentational than mine, but I think we can kind of show this off. And so at that point, we would just kind of cover these or paint them over with glue after it dries.
Yeah, so you wait for them to fully dry. You'll be able
Mhm.
to tell because the glue dries clear. So when there's none of the white left, and then yeah, again, you're super generous with the glue. I can show you a quick one on maybe this. I'm gonna try on this one. Yeah, I feel like I could if I'm delicate. So again, just very generous with the glue and just cover all of them, and it'll dry clear and make them nice and durable.
Generous so that you can get every nook and cranny, right?
Yeah.
So where can we find your next work as well too? Where else can we find this stuff?
Just on my website.
Mm-hmm.
I have my website. It's everything I have available. My social media channels, just Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, all Teal Fawn Designs as well too?
Yep.
That's awesome.
I'm starting to kind of get back into vendor markets again, which is super fun. So locally here, usually just in Lethbridge, the ones I've done, which are always fun. And again, that's a good, someone will see a fish scale art and they'll kind of do a double take.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that?
What is that material?
Yeah. So that's a good, without me kind of drawing customers to me, they'll come to me that way.
Yeah.
So.
Word of mouth is honestly sometimes the best way to go, so, in my experience.
Yeah. So that's nice and very heavily covered in glue.
Just gotta go for it. Maximize what I got.
I like seeing how you work in contrast to me. I feel like I'm all over the place. I'm taking up all of this space.
I dot all my T's and cross all my I's.
Yeah. Even my colors are starting to get together. Whoops.
That's my bad. I dot all my I's and cross my T's. That's silly. Okay, and then you would just let that dry and then basically get the contrast of this
And
as well
that's how
too.
it look at the end, yeah.
Well, that's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I could do this forever, but I don't think we have the time to do that. So thank you so much, Maria, for just engaging me with and entertaining the thought of me having to do this for the first time as well too. Obviously, Teal Fawn Designs has got a long way, has been already established here in Lethbridge and has a long way to go as well too. So super excited. Any closing thoughts you got?
No, I had a lot of fun, and thanks for creating this artwork with me and letting me share, give me the space to share.
Okay.
It's Clark and Perry on the case. Da-na-na-na. Clark and Perry, do what it takes. Da-na-na-na. Clark and Perry, investigate.
The activities and interests of local artists in the Windy City's finest throughout both Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, Alberta. Available on TELUS, Optic TV, On Demand, VidFlex, YouTube, and more for limited time only. Terms and conditions apply.
Da-na-na-na.